why does a mind map have an image in the center and not a word? Yeah, because an image is imagination, so it's part of memory, and a picture is worth 1,000 words. Whenever you're teaching the kids in the class geography, history, English, mathematics, whatever it is, image in the center.
Before he left China, he made friends with the Chinese emperor. The Chinese emperor was a very powerful man, and he gave him a golden tablet. The Chinese emperor gave Marco the golden tablet because the golden tablet worked like a passport. If somebody went to stop him, he would show them the golden tablet. They would see the golden tablet and go, oh, you're friends with the emperor, not going to mess with you then. When he got back, he wrote a book about how amazing China was, but no one believed him. They only believed him last century. When did they believe him?
Last century.
Brilliant. When he got back to Italy, he lived in Venice. Venice is where the houses are built on stilts and they're all kind of sinking into the sea. All of this happened.
So mind mapping is based on two main things, imagination and association, which are the principles on which all the brain's major functions work. So in a mind map, you have, as you have in the map of a city, the center and the main roads running out. In a mind map, you have the central image and the main rivers, roads of thought emanating from that. And from those, the second level roads, from those, the third level roads, and so on. So you actually end up with a map of the interrelationship of your thoughts to themselves. It's like an internet in your mind. And it's the way the brain thinks anyway, so it's nothing new to it. It's actually coming home.
Can we give them a big round of applause, please? Thank you very much. Right. Brilliant. Now, what I'd like everybody to do is just turn to the person next to you in twos and threes to stay where you're seated. Tell each other everything you know about Marco Polo, please.
He travelled to China. It took 3 years. 3.5 years.
And he travelled there at 17.
600 people died.
Yeah, they only disbelieved him since last century.
Yeah, what was the 5,600? You write
3, 2, 1,
Absolutely brilliant. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask everybody some questions. So, first of all, everybody, can you tell me, how old was Marco Polo when he went to China?
17.
Excellent. How many years did it take him to get there?
3.5.
Nice one. How many miles was the journey?
Teaching the skills of mind mapping gives a tool for making thinking visual, making it explicit, and sharing it. So it's an important tool for thinking. It doesn't replace the thinking, although it can be a framework and a strategy for generating ideas, connecting ideas, and seeing relationships.
If I had given you the same information like this, it wouldn't be 1 page, it would be at least 2 pages. Do you think you would have remembered as much as easily? However, the truth is, sometimes at school you need to get information like that. Sometimes in life we need to get information like that. However, if you want to take information like this and make it much more memorable, make yourself your own mind map.
I actually foresee a time when the teaching profession will be swamped with people. Because who wouldn't love a job where you were having fun every day, where everybody was learning fantastically, where most children were getting A's just like that, because memory and creativity were natural to them.
Amongst those attending the Learn to Learn conference were staff and pupils from Charing School. Head teacher Rosemary Ollie was looking for ways to improve teaching and learning at her school.
The children really enjoyed it because it was incredibly interactive. They got a lot of fun out of their learning. And they liked the energy that they saw, and so they came back buzzing with it. But the other thing it did was energise the staff, and one of my staff in particular, the Year 6 teacher, came back and said, I can use that, I can make that work. And that's how we started on the road that we're on now.
OK, last week we went on a site visit over the road.
The Year 6 teacher, inspired by many of the teaching tools demonstrated at the conference, was Anne Plummeridge. Today, Anne is using mind maps to help the children gather and organise information following a visit to a local building site. In a future lesson, the class will be asked to form their own opinions about the environmental impact of the development.
The lesson was based on a geography lesson that we've been doing about looking at the environment and a traffic issue in the local area. So we decided that we would use the new building development that was taking place over the road from school, using that as our geography for this term. So, okay, I'm going to ask you in a minute, I want you to mind map exactly what you have now discovered about the school road development. I use mind mapping a huge amount. It's a really versatile means of recording things. For this kind of lesson, it's more information gathering. So it's bringing together all the children's ideas, but it gives them a very visual way of being able to record it themselves. And then we bring together all their ideas on a class mind map, and then that can be used as a record of the class's work, and it can be put up with the displays that are already up. Now from there I want you to take it and I want you to put in all the things that you know now about the site from our visit and from what you learned by talking to Kay Martin when she came in to answer your questions. Okay, you've got your questions in your book, so you should be able to find them. You have about 5 minutes to do this, okay? A lot of the children find this a much easier way of recording than a lot of other ways. Some children have a great difficulty with writing, especially the special needs children. And to them it's a chore and it's one that they dislike. And if you can find other ways to help them record things, then they'll learn a lot more and a lot quicker. I'm very impressed with the mind maps you've been doing. They're really very good at the moment. So what we're going to do now is you're going to tell me the information that you've got on your mind maps, and we're going to put them onto the class mind map at the front, and then that can be used when it's completed to put along with the display that we've already got to do with the geography work that we've been doing. Okay, so who's going to start me off? Ashley.
Fit in with the surroundings.
It fits in with the surroundings.
Very often they'll use it as a class activity to start the theme, but they'll also use it on an individual level when they're doing story writing, for example, or a more creative piece of work to get them into the thinking process and the planning process.
I think my left side of my brain was used more because we didn't know about mind maps, and now it's helped me to use both.
It helps me order my work a lot better. Like if you're writing a story, you can put all your ideas down instead of putting it in a list and waiting till the end.
I like using a lot of colours, and if I use colours, it sticks in my brain.
We've been using our mind maps to write down what we know about a topic in science before we start it and what we know about it after we start it.
You can revise with it by looking at it 5 times, then it gets stuck in your long-term memory.
As well as aiding pupils learning at Charing, mind maps are benefiting teachers.
The teachers have used it as a method of planning. Medium-term planning in particular they've used it for. And my Year 6 teacher at the moment uses it for weekly planning to show the children what they're going to be doing during the week. And she also asks them to add anything to this mind map in case they think that they could do other strands of work alongside the things that she's already planned.
For quite a few years we've been having to teach in boxes. We've had, this is a subject for maths and that's ICT and that's DT. And the children have actually had to think in those boxes. They've not been allowed the freedom to move between one subject and another. So consequently they can't transfer the skills they learn in one subject over into another subject area. The cross-curricular planning and learning and the mind mapping allows them to do that. Lindsay?
There are going to be 7 flats.
Kaylee?
There's going to be very small gardens.
Very small gardens. In front of 2 of the shops there was going to be a car park. Who for specifically? Claire?
Anne's cross-curricular approach does seem to reflect the associative way in which the brain works.
I think the big key word would be interaction rather than separateness. Taking opportunities to show connections, parallels, analogies between areas of curriculum. Secondly, would be revisiting areas in a spiral way so that we're putting in some reinforcement. It has to be in different contexts, otherwise it'll clearly be boring. But we do want to be leading our children in schools towards independence so they feel confident and independent about what they're knowing.
Daniel?
There was meant to be no access from the school road.
Claire?
Some steps and a slope.
The bricks on the old houses matched the new houses.
There were several children in the class last year who had quite large problems with recording work and the way they understood it. And for them, this was a lifeline because they can use pictures to help with key in certain words. They don't have to actually read screeds of writing. And a way that they learnt with the revision was just to do the mind maps, and then they could look through them in their own time as well. And it just sticks because of the use of the colours and the pictures and the way it's designed. It just works.
I wouldn't use the term accelerated learning. I would call it more enrichment learning, and I would call it's definitely cross-curricular learning. We're trying to make sense of their schooling and their learning by making it more of a cohesive unit with more interlinks interlinked so that they can see how one thing impacts on another.
Of course, it's important that accelerated learning doesn't come at the cost of depth of learning.
What really is important in learning are the inner purposes, is the deeper understanding that only comes through time and through the experience of reflection and the experience of critical and creative thinking about real problems that deepens understanding.
Well, I think we've done an awful lot on here. You found an awful lot of information and a really good mind map at the end of it. What I would like you to do, though, is to think about all the things that you've learnt from the visit to the site and what your first thoughts were when we discovered that we were building over there. I'd like you to actually write about how you feel about this development now in light of going into the site and having a look. So that's what your homework for tonight will be. Okay?
One of the issues we had was that we were a school with serious weaknesses and teaching and learning was not good in my school. Now it's been proved to be good because our results went up. Now we can't ever say that it was as a result directly of using mind mapping, but we think, certainly from the feedback that we had from some of the boys, that they liked that method of learning. And we've hooked some of them, we think, into that, which gave them success. My teachers have found it quite liberating working with a thematic approach to what they deliver within the classroom.